Welcome, Fright Night Vault listeners. Tonight, we draw back the curtain on a story that doesn't lurch into terror. It drifts. It hums beneath the surface like something breathing just under the floorboards. A slow realization that you're not alone, and maybe haven't been for a long time. This story takes place in a building that most people forgot, where echoes outnumber the footsteps, and certain doors were left locked not for safety, but for secrecy. One of those doors leads to a room with no windows, no soundproofing, just a chair, a mirror, and something that never really left. You're about to hear what happened when someone, just doing their job, stood too close to that door and looked in, and from that moment on, nothing reflected quite the way it used to. If you're listening to this alone, take a moment to ground yourself. Notice your surroundings. How many mirrors are in the room with you? How many do you remember being there? And more importantly, do they all show you? Here in the Vault, we create fully original horror stories for nighttime listening, tales meant to be heard in the dark, when your mind is most open to suggestion, and your senses are just a little too sharp. There's no footage, no jump scares, only voices, breaths, stillness. The kind of stillness that makes you realize the noise wasn't coming from outside the room. It was inside all along. So put your screen away. Let the image form in your mind. Feel the air shift. Feel the walls breathe. If you're driving, keep your eyes on the road. But be ready for the moment when the shadows stop following your headlights and start keeping pace beside you. And if you're in bed, staring into the dark, just remember this. Some reflections aren't broken by turning away. They wait, and they watch. At the end of the story, if your own mirror feels colder than before, well, that's not your imagination. And if something ever watched you back through the glass, feel free to share it in the comments. The Vault is always open to new whispers. The story starts now. Nina was the kind of person who liked quiet jobs. The overnight security shift at Brookridge Complex seemed perfect. Empty halls, flickering lights, and a schedule built on routine patrols. What used to be a psychiatric hospital had been converted into office space, but most of the lower levels were left untouched, too expensive to renovate, too forgotten to care. She first noticed the reflection room 2 weeks into the job. A hallway that dead-ended into a heavy metal door marked R17. It looked out of place, too solid, too reinforced. Painted black, with a thick observation window slit at eye level. No one mentioned it in training. The blueprints she'd been given didn't even list the corridor. And the lock? It only worked from the outside. It was the kind of thing you ignore at first, until it starts showing up in your dreams. Nina didn't consider herself superstitious, but something about the door got under her skin. She'd walk past it quickly. She'd avoid looking through the slit. But then she started hearing it. 3 knocks, always spaced the same way, always coming from inside. At first, she thought it was air pressure, old pipes shifting as the building settled. But then, one night, as she passed the door, the slit had fogged over from the inside. She stopped. The air around her went cold. She leaned in, pressing her hand against the metal. There it was again, 3 knocks. This time, not from the door, from the wall behind her. She turned fast, flashlight up. Nothing, just the dark, quiet corridor stretching back toward the stairwell. That was the first night she didn't finish her patrol. But it wasn't the last. She started dreaming of the room. Dreams where she stood in front of the mirror, but her reflection didn't match. It blinked slower, smiled wider, and didn't stop when she turned away. She'd wake up breathless, find the mirrors in her apartment slightly askew, pictures fallen, lights on she didn't remember leaving on. So one night, she made a decision. She'd open the door. Not officially, of course. She didn't have the key. But the maintenance closet held an old key ring that hadn't been logged in years. She found one that fit. Inside, the room was colder than the hallway. No furniture, just an old bolted-down chair, a thin layer of dust, and the long wall-sized mirror that covered one side entirely. She stepped inside. The door clicked shut behind her. She turned, but it hadn't latched, just heavy. She took a few steps in. The air felt thick, like she was walking underwater. Then the lights flickered. She froze. In the mirror, she saw herself. Same clothes, same flashlight. But the reflection was wrong. Her reflection was smiling, and she wasn't. She took a step back. The mirror figure stepped forward. It lifted its hand and knocked, 3 times, on the inside of the glass. The lights went out. Nina bolted. She didn't look back. She slammed the door shut and twisted the lock until it clicked. She quit the next morning, didn't file a report, didn't tell the supervisor, just left her badge and walked. But that's not where the story ends. 2 weeks later, the next night, guard quit after 1 shift. Said he saw someone watching him from a dark window. Only there weren't any windows on the lower floor. The building tried to hire again. No takers. Eventually, they sealed the hallway off, put a false wall up, and told the new hires to stay away from the west wing, but the door's still there, R17, with its mirror, with whatever is inside it now, and every so often, during the graveyard shift, someone hears 3 soft knocks echo through the pipes. They always come in 3s, even when no one's near the hallway, even when there's no one in the building at all. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more like it, please like, share, and subscribe. We bring you new original horror every night, just long enough to leave a mark.